Well, welcome to another episode of Back to Paranormal. My name is Brian Mitchell, and my beautiful co-host is sitting right next to me. I'm all excited. Hi, Marjorie.
Thank you. Hello.
How you doing today?
I'm not feeling very beautiful, Brian.
I'm sorry.
You. Oh, no. It was so hot and so sweaty today.
It was like 149 degrees today.
It was hot and sweaty.
In New York, where it felt like that because of the humidity. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe not 149 degrees, but it felt like over 100.
It was up there.
Yeah, it was up there.
So if I may just for a minute, illustrate to our listeners, because it was so hot today, we are home, recording from our home in our robes.
We actually are in our robes.
Well, no, you're in your robe.
Yes.
And I'm in
my other robe.
And they're identical. Because you loved them so much, you had to buy two.
Yeah, I got two, and I thought they were a different color, and they were really the same color.
Because it's so hot and sweaty outside. Yeah. You have to come inside and refrigerate, shower, and then the air conditioning is blasting. So we're in these really heavy. I feel like old King Cole. This was the biggest robe I've ever worn in my life.
It's a huge robe.
I know.
I mean, it's huge for me. It's actually huge for me because this thing just goes around my body like 10 times.
I mean, the sleeves are so long. I look like a lost boy.
Yeah.
I do.
You do.
I'll roll them up, and they're very, very warm, and they're very plush. And thank you for the loan.
These robes remind me of the Ghost of Christmas present.
Yes, or Good King Wenceslas.
Yes.
These are very voluminous.
They are. Anyway, now that you know what we're wearing.
I'm sorry, guys.
No, that's all right. That's all right. What are we drinking today? What are you having?
Well, last night we were out at dinner, and you ordered a White Claw. And I was like, is that stuff good? And I had a sip of your White Claw on ice, and I said, that is really refreshing. I like that. So I just poured us. I have a lime, and you have a pineapple. And I'm going to boop you.
You're going to boop me. All right, here we go.
Here's some matching.
Here we go. Don't break the glass. Here we go.
Boop.
Oh.
Ooh.
Wow.
Hi.
Okay.
Here's to matching plush.
Bottoms up.
Robes.
Okay.
And White Claw.
Up the White Claw. There you go. It is refreshing.
That's good.
So what flavor do you have?
Lime. I just told all of our listeners.
Oh. I guess I tuned out. No, I didn't. I've been tuning out all night. I know.
Tune in.
I feel bad. No, we're tuned in.
Up with White Claw.
I'm having the pineapple, which I would not think that this would be any good. Have you tried it?
No, I didn't take.
Would you like to take a taste of this? Because it's
a mini swig.
I think it's pretty. I think they're all refreshing.
Oh, yours is much better than mine.
Yeah. Yours is like traditional, and this is different.
I did. I stayed with the tried and true. Well, it's my first time, so okay.
So last week we're basically on a similar theme to last week,
kind of a sequel-ish.
It's sequel-ish, and last week we talked about the book Heal. This week we're talking pretty much in the same lines because it's the power of thought, and that book is the power of thought to heal yourself, right? And this is a book demonstrating there's 9 experiments in the book that demonstrate the power of your thoughts and the power of your intention and your energy to make things happen, to manifest things in your life. And it is called E Squared by Pam Grout. And it is a New York Times bestseller. It sold so many copies that they actually did a sequel to the book called E Cubed, which we're not talking about today, but we'll probably get around to it. We'll talk about it.
I can't wait.
Yeah, but I believe in the power of thought and your intentions and where you direct your energy, where your thoughts go, energy flows, right? And I think that's what this book is all about. So it's a very pleasant book to read. She dumbs it down quite a lot and just kind of talks like a regular person. It's almost like she dictated it. It's
written in a very familiar.
Yes.
It's like she's chatting with you as though she's a friend.
Yes.
I enjoyed that.
Right. But she claims that these 9 experiments work and really demonstrate the power of thought and the power of your energy. So basically it says that on the front of the book. 9 do-it-yourself energy experiments that prove your thoughts create your reality.
Well, I what I like about that is that there are so many books that are about this topic, and but they are really dealing with concepts, and it's asking a lot of, like, say, a non-believer, you know, to suddenly believe in the power of all the space that's in between, that it really is connected, and that, you know, the universe is directly connected to us. It's a great deal to ask of someone who's kind of starting to think about this for the first time in their life.
Yeah, it's a big.
So this book,
big stuff.
It is, and it's also so against what a lot of us are raised with, which is the material world. Believe what you see, and you know that these belief systems that have been passed down generation after generation. It's a lot to unwire something that's hardwired in you from your childhood. And so the thing I like about this book is it's actually showing you things that you can do instead of just speaking in platitudes and broad strokes.
Exactly. I think it's a very, very interesting book, and she claims that all these experiments work. And I did one experiment. I didn't do the whole book. I did one experiment, and all of a sudden things happened. And it wasn't like instantaneous. I would say it was like within an hour or two. It was like all of a sudden these things happened, and basically they were good things, and it was totally out of the blue. Did not expect it. I can't elaborate too much on that, but but I was like, boy, that's really kind of weird, because I set the intention around 7:00 in the morning, and then by 11 o'clock, it's like a bunch of things happened that I totally didn't expect. All of a sudden I got phone calls from people, and it was people saying, yeah, I want to do this, and I want to do this with you. And yes, absolutely. And I was really surprised.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But she does say you have to give a timeline. There has to be a deadline.
Generally, it's
within which.
Yeah, generally it's 48 hours. And then, she wants you to get a book, and then you write down all the stuff. You write down the time that you're starting the experiment, and then, the end time and what the intention was. And you have to, basically they say you have to believe it. You have to believe that it's going to happen. You can't doubt it. You just have to be steadfast and
focused.
Almost believe it's already happened, and then it will manifest for you. And I believe that, but that's a hard thing for a lot of people, to really believe that something is going to happen and then, have it happen. It's, you really have to shut off all the negative stuff in your head.
Very hard to do.
It's very, very hard to do.
Yeah.
Because we are, and we've talked about this before on the podcast, right? How we are constantly, excuse me, from little kids, we're told no, That's, no, you can't expect that. Who do you think you are to think that you could be this? And there's, and when you're a kid, it's just, you're full of wonder. And everything is kind of magical to you as a little kid. But I think a lot of kids have that beaten out of them by the time they're 9. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the, and I'm going to say something, and this may sound weird, but, if you grow up and somebody's telling you, yes, Santa Claus exists, and then you get to be 8 or 9 or 10, and now, you still, and you have this sense of wonder about Santa Claus, and then all of a sudden you find out, oh, he's not real, okay? Mm-hmm. And I think that kind of just shuts the valve off for you to have that sense of wonder, because now it's like, oh, so none of that is true. None of that.
Begins to come. It turns into a clothesline onto which you can hang all the dreams that the wishes and dreams that will not come to fruition.
Right. And in essence, you're cutting the clothesline. You're cutting it, it's just collapsing. So, I'm not saying I still believe in Santa Claus, but I just think there is something.
No, but that's because you are Santa Claus.
Well, ho, ho, ho. But I think there's something to that. I think there's, I know as a kid everything was magical, and then but the reality of what was around me kind of limited me in a way. But I still had dreams of doing things, and so. But I think a lot of people, when they get a couple of things like that happen in their life, where they believe in somebody and they it could be just a person and they disappoint them, in a big way. It's kind of like, it's almost like you stop believing that things can happen. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Well, we've had this talk before, and you've said, like, we'll be driving and you get deep in thought and you're looking off into the scenery and you're like, I used to have so much magic. I used to believe in so many magical things. And,
yeah.
And you say it like so woefully, as though you aren't. But I just think you need me to remind you, you still do.
Oh, thank you.
You absolutely still do.
Thank you.
It's so easy to get into. It's so easy to get into those funks. I mean, I know I certainly do it. It's so easy, and then it stops you from allowing the positivity to radiate. And because if you're putting it out, it'll affect others, and then others and others, and it'll come back.
I think,
like, I knew that we were going to do this recording tonight, and
yes,
when I got up, I was just quickly going through some news before I go about my day, and I pulled up this People article.
Oh.
Okay. And this, I don't really read on my news feed stuff like this all the time.
Right.
It's usually more like what the baddies in the world are doing, and is J-Lo leaving, Ben Affleck and, all these
I'm sure she's probably on her way.
I don't know. I hope not. I always was believed in them. Mm-hmm. You know what? I'll send them my good intention for today.
Why don't we do that? Everybody, send your good intentions to them.
To Bennifer. Yeah. But, so I owe it. And this kind of stuff doesn't really come, my phone knows what I want to read. I want to read about food and wedding gowns and the regular news. But today, spontaneously, I opened up People magazine. Man makes legendary $20 bet in high school senior yearbook quote. It's a quotation because it's a noun, not a verb, but okay.
Yes.
Years later, he fulfills his promise. Look at this. There's a picture of him walking down the aisle with his bride.
Uh-huh.
And a $20 bill.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Like looking very happy.
Right.
And there he is, high school yearbook. Cute kid. And here's his quotation: $20, I marry Sarah Dill.
And he eventually married her.
And he eventually
was
married.
it how many years did it take for him to marry her?
Oh, I guess not that much. Well, now you're just okay. So when did they graduate from high school? 18. Okay, well he's 24.
Oh, okay.
That's.
Is there a story like he went off to do something else and then he saw her again or something like that? And
they dated.
Yeah.
He kept his quote a secret, not disclosing it to anyone, and not even Sarah.
Right.
Because she was at a different high school.
Right.
And then, I guess, 6 years later? On Saturday, April 27th.
Whammo.
His yearbook came through.
Wow.
Isn't that cute? And people were giving him $20 all night.
Wow. There you go.
But he believed in it. He said, when you know, you know. And here at the very end, he wrote this lovely quotation.
Right.
Follow your heart. If it's in the right place, then you'll be right where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, I believe that.
Simple
I believe that.
And very true.
People might listen to that and might go, well, he was probably stalking her for like 6 years. And then, she wore him down.
No,
he wore her down.
They dated in high school. Many people, I know, the King Cold is getting a little.
Yeah.
They dated in high school. Look, I didn't read the whole thing, okay?
That's okay.
The broad strokes, because I thought of all the days for me to
read something like that.
See a headline like that. Today was the day. He said it. He put it in a yearbook. It was printed.
Right.
And spread all over wherever they live in Florida.
There were some really, I just want to say this because it's this is all related to all this. Have you heard, there's like some story where somebody lost their ring and they had no idea where the ring was, and somebody 40 years later found the ring, and somehow through a bunch of impossible circumstances that person got the ring back.
Really?
Yeah. I've heard this
Their
story.
Engagement ring or just like a
No, I think it's like it might have been a wedding ring or something like that. Yeah. And somehow they got the ring back, but it wasn't because they found it in a drawer in the house. It was like found in a lake somewhere, and then somehow through a miraculous, and when I mean miraculous, it's like crazy. The odds that person would be reunited with that ring were like amazing.
Oh, thank goodness.
Stuff like that happens. And I've had stuff in my life where it's like a bunch of things had to fall into place in order for me to, land a career in it, and I'm an animator. And there were a lot of crazy things. All of a sudden, everything just started happening.
And you had a couple people who ought not to have said, no, you can't do that. No, you can't do that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, shame on you.
Yeah, I've had those experiences, and I'm just scratch my head, and I'm like, how on earth did that happen?
Yeah.
And it stuff like that does happen. I think when you have the intention of doing something, and it's deep down in your heart, and some people say, well, you're not thinking from your heart. And I think you are. I think you think from, when they say you think from your heart, it's really through your body, you know?
Yeah. First of all, that's the nexus of you have the natural given talent, and it's in you. It's, and you have the interest in actually, pursuing it. So it's at that, like they say, the fortune lies at the intersection of intention and preparedness.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, something like that. So I'm gonna tell this story.
But let me just say that ring story that Pam Grout in this book,
yes.
she tells this really spooky story.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, so she would hang this little calendar up by her bed. So she would make notes about almost like a journal or a diary, but it was in calendar form.
Yeah.
On a little brad, like a little nail in the wall. And from time to time before bed or in the morning, she would pull it off the wall and read it and go back and review and then look forward ahead and all this stuff. Just, to make her intentions known to herself on the calendar in ink on paper.
Right.
And over time, this tiny little nail was finally kind of like had the stuffings knocked out of it, and she pulled the calendar off one time and dink, there goes the nail.
Right.
Nowhere to be found. She's down on hands and knees looking around for this little nail. And I would have just gone to the toolbox and got another nail and or whatever and fix it right there.
She that's really what a normal person would do.
Normal person, Pam Grout. No, but that's me saying I'm not going to let that nail get the best of me. But she instead, and this is amazing, she said, I have 24 hours for that nail to make itself reappear. Okay?
Yeah.
She set it. She set the deadline.
Right.
She went to sleep. She woke up and the nail was in between her forefinger and her thumb.
Yeah. Yeah.
That just read that and that just gave me chills,
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Did I told you about the jewelry, right? I told you that story.
You have told me about the jewelry, but you have not told our wonderful listeners. You've got to hear about the jewelry.
This is actually pretty interesting.
This is amazing.
I've had this happen a couple of times. And it's always through, it's almost like I'll be bent out of shape about something and like trying to figure something out, and I can't figure it out. I've had this happen with a computer program and it was an animation program actually, and I was trying to figure it out, and I was just really racking my brain, and I tried every possible solution to make this program work. It was for a camera move in animation. So I was working on it, and basically it was my ex-wife actually came in. She said, we're going to the beach. You want to come? And I was like, no, I'm racking my brain on this. I got to figure this out. And she said, maybe if you just take some time away from it, you will, maybe we'll come to you. But anyway, we went to the beach, and I was under an umbrella, and I had a little pillow, and I just fell asleep. And it just kind of cleared my head. And an amazing thing happened, which was I woke up, and I knew the solution to the problem. And I really knew the solution. It wasn't like a passing thing.
Did you visualize it in a dream?
I don't remember the dream. I just remember waking up and knowing
how to solve the problem. Wow.
And sure enough, so when I was anxious to get back and work on that and see if it worked. And I was just worried. I was worried that I was going to kind of lose it, between there and then coming home, but
lose the solution.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So no, we came home, and I went right down into the studio area, and I fired up everything and did it exactly the way I thought about it. Not thought about it, or the way it appeared in my head when I woke up, and it worked. And it's one of those things that how do you prove that type of thing? You don't, but it was just amazing to me that it just came to me. Now, this kind of leads into the other story, which is, and it's the same thing involving the ex-wife, And so what happened, we were going away, and this often happened where she would hide her jewelry. She'd take some jewelry and she'd hide the rest of it. And she would hide it so good, so well, that...
We've all done this. And I was too clever for my own good.
And she could not remember where she put the jewelry.
Yeah.
And it's like, and she didn't tell me. And she told nobody where she put it. And so we had come back, and I was like, we spent maybe about a week looking for it.
Oh my
and
gosh, poor thing.
And I was like, could it be in here or could it be there? And all these out of the way places that I'm sure a burglar would know to go to if there were. But sometimes the most obvious places are probably the best places to hide stuff. But anyway, she didn't pick any of those.
Oh no.
So anyway, she was beside herself, and I was like, I can't believe you lost all that jewelry. And I said, well, probably it'll turn up sometime in 30 years, But anyway, another situation where basically we went to sleep, and this time I was a little bit disturbed by it because I was like, it's over a week now.
What? It's also all these things
and we
that
turned the
you've
house upside
given
down
to her, and she's so
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a horrible feeling.
So I went to sleep, and I think around 2 a.m, I don't think I dreamt about it. All of a sudden I woke up and I knew where the jewelry was, not her. I knew where it was. And I'm like, how was that at all possible where I would know? When I didn't hide it, she didn't tell me, but I knew exactly where it was, and I went right to the basement, which was unfinished at the time, and my daughter had a place at one of those, I don't know, it's like a plastic or...
Like play school kind of.
Yeah, it's like a little kitchen thing, play set with the plastic drawers and stuff like that. Vacuum form. I don't know what it is. But anyway, I knew it was in one of the drawers. I didn't know which one it was, but I knew it was one of 3 drawers. And I felt like I was on Let's Make a Deal, drawer number 1, drawer number 2. But anyway, the second one I pulled out was the drawer, and that's where all the jewelry was. And to this day, I cannot tell you how that happened or why. And I was like... It's short of a miracle. Why would I even have that knowledge? But it came to me.
Yeah.
And so that to me was pretty amazing. And that said something to me, because it means that there is a higher intelligence, or maybe an intelligence that connects all of us.
Listening to us.
Yeah. Or maybe it's just there. And it's just like when we need it, we kind of access it. And that's what really this book is about. It's about, okay, yeah, so, yeah, I found her jewelry, but could I use that for something else? Could I use that for, I don't know, if I had a project that I wanted somebody to invest in, could I use that to like locate that person and entice them to put money toward a project? It's
very strange.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Okay, so along these lines, one of my nephews, I was out in the garden with him, and my mother was talking about this situation with this rose and this situation with this rose bush and and here's what needs to happen, and we were going over all of this, and little kids, they just want to play, right? And
right.
he was interested up to a point, but then it was getting a little too like project task oriented, and
right, he needed to do something else.
So but he was being polite, and we were going to go somewhere to go play, but suddenly he suddenly ran a couple feet away, and he stopped. He just stopped. Right. And then he went, "No way!" And he ran all the way across the lawn to the whole opposite side into this patch of grass. He bends down and he picked up a 4-leaf clover.
Really?
Yes. I mean, how many times as a child, I would spend hours just looking, looking, rolling around in the grass. Maybe today's my lucky day.
So somebody came to him?
I have no idea.
Did you ask him? Did you quiz him on that? How did you know?
He said, I just had a feeling.
Yeah.
And my mom and I looked at one another. We were just like,
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And he just stopped. He was like, no way. And then he runs all the way across.
Like a sense of knowing.
Yes. Oh, it was beeline.
I've had that with lottery. I've had that with lottery tickets.
All of the blades, all of the clover that's growing in the blades of the grass in this garden, and he picked the one.
Yeah. Like I said, it happened to me, but he didn't fall asleep while he was walking. He just came to him.
So funny, yeah.
And I think that happens. I think that's kind of what we're talking about with the book. It's kind of, this is really, you're setting the intention, you're putting it out there, and to make something happen. It has 9 different experiments. It even has a wire coat wire. What is it? A hanger.
One of the experiments is, yes, I think it's...
Isn't it 4?
Which
Experiment 4.
I think it's number 4. Okay, so there are 9 different experiments that you can do that she lists. I'm sure there are more.
Right. And we've been doing these experiments, and this was before the book, and not even knowing they were experiments. So
the wire hanger one is the Albie Einstein principle.
Now, what is it?
No, that's number 3.
It's number 3. Okay, so what is that? I know what it's about, but do you know what it's about?
Yeah. So it's honestly, and another thing I like about this book is all of these things can be done. You can do it all in baby steps. Yeah. Nobody's clobbering you over the head with, picking a 4-leaf clover out of a whole entire garden of grass. So I have to tell you a story after you tell that story, and it's about coffee. Oh, okay.
Okay. And they talk about this in the book, but it happened to me before the book, years before the book.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you go ahead.
Anyway, just the third experiment. So you do them in sequentially because you're kind of exercising a muscle, and as you go through the steps, you're getting a little more advanced, and you can get a little bit more emboldened, I suppose. Anyway, experiment number 3, Albie Einstein principle. You take some wire hangers, like from the dry cleaning. You snip them into a long strip where you can bend.
This isn't like a Joan Crawford thing, is it? No, it's not.
No, we want more.
Sorry.
We want more wire hangers.
Okay.
So, two coat hangers, metal.
Yeah.
Bent at a right angle, and 2 drinking straws.
Like from a fast food place.
From fast food.
Yeah.
And
plastic straw. Yeah.
The material is not specified, but a drinking straw.
You want something smooth.
It could be paper, it could be metal. The world is your oyster. So you take one of the wires, each get stuck into the drinking straw, and you hold each one in your hand with the rest of the wire sticking out, like divining rods to detect a water source from back in the day. Actually, they still do that in farming, but and you're not touching the wire. They are completely free to move 360 degrees around inside the straw. Because
the straw is basically what you're holding, and the straw is freely that's secure, but the wire inside is not.
Free to circulate.
It's free to move.
Yes.
Which it does.
Yeah. And we've seen videos of this, and you just clear your mind, and the more you just get more peaceful and more clear, the wires will stick straight out from your hand towards...
away from you.
Away from you.
Straight in front of you.
Straight in front of you.
Right in front of you.
Right in front of you.
Yeah.
And if you start to think of the things that make you happy, watching the children playing, for me, it would be cleaning the house and or buying pretty things.
Hey, whatever makes you happy. Yeah.
Your face.
Thank you.
Yeah. And the wires start to just wide open all the way, just a 180 degree.
So that basically the left one is going over to the left.
All the way to the left.
And the other one's going to the right. So it's almost like an embrace. It's almost like it's
almost
putting its arms out to embrace
the universe.
Yes. Then
when you start to think about things that make you, feel negative or down or what have you.
Negative stuff.
Negative stuff. Or am I telling this or are you
No.
telling
I just
Am I not doing a good job?
You're doing a great job.
Okay.
I think I'm annoying you.
No, you're not.
No, you're doing a great job.
I'm doing the best I can here, folks.
You're doing great.
Okay. The wires will start to move from the open embrace position towards one another and cross over, almost like your arms are folded across your chest.
That's great. That's
stopping you from receiving anything good. And you've seen video of it on YouTube, or you can try it yourself at home with wire hangers and drinking straws of any material.
Right. Now, I've seen another experiment of that where if you focus your energy on, let's say you have pictures on a mantle, and you focus your energy on the pictures, both of those rods will go toward the pictures.
Wow.
And if you think about something on the kitchen table, which might be on the other side, the rods will move to that.
Wow.
So whatever you direct your attention to.
But you have to be very focused. Okay, so please, I want to hear this coffee story.
Oh, the coffee story is, I used to teach a cartoon. Well, I taught animation. And I'm glad I brought this up because I got to put this in my book that I'm writing.
I've never heard the coffee story.
The coffee story is interesting. I came in, I didn't have a lot of time. I was getting ready for the first class, which was at 9:00. And I normally would pick up a cup of coffee.
Oh, I have heard the coffee story.
Have you?
Yeah.
So, okay, well, you guys haven't heard it. But this actually, so I was thinking to myself, I'm not going to have time to get coffee. And I'm not going to have a break to do it. And it's basically, I'm going to be stuck at this place. Maybe I can get a can of soda or something, but I really wanted some coffee. I mean, I'm a coffee drinker. So I'll drink, a couple of cups a day. I used to drink a lot of cups a day, 8-10 cups a day. And, but anyway, I got in and one of the students came in. They brought me a cup of coffee.
That's amazing.
Which was great, but it didn't stop. The whole day, people brought me cups of coffee. Normally, I might get a cup of coffee from one person, in the afternoon. They might bring a cup of coffee for me.
That's so nice.
But this was... I got so much coffee that day. I actually got so much acid from drinking the coffee. And I thought I was going to...
If you build it, they will come.
I know.
And you had all these cars lined up.
Just lined up for the coffee, yeah. And it wasn't... I didn't ask anybody. It was just that's something I really want today is a cup of coffee. And I'm trying to figure out how to do it. And somehow that got out. And... I don't know. All of a sudden, everybody was bringing me coffee. I just thought it was weird. But the thing is, somebody did an experiment in this book, and they did something very simple, and it was like, I would like somebody to give me a cup of coffee. And so they started this experiment, and they were going to the airport. They were actually leaving for somewhere. And so they get to the airport, and so they're sitting there, and a person who's over there, all of a sudden, he just comes back from the place where you get, the snack bar or whatever it is over there. He comes back with a cup of coffee, and he's about to drink it, and then they call him to the gate. All of a sudden, it's now he has to go on board the flight. Mm-hmm. And so there's other people there, and he turns to this woman and he goes, I'm not going to have a chance to drink this. I got too much stuff in my hands. Would you like a cup of coffee? Mm-hmm. And this was like maybe a couple of hours after the intention was set, with the time and all that. And she was given a cup of coffee. Something very simple.
That's amazing.
If you think about it,
I hope she didn't drink it, though. I mean, guys, don't.
No, she saw him come back from the place. So
okay.
But anyway,
I'm not trying to be negative.
No, don't be negative. It was a good thing. No, it was a good thing. It was a good thing.
It is okay. It was a good thing.
It was a good thing. Whether she drank it or not is immaterial. It's the fact that
I get worried.
Yeah, but no, it's just the idea. I mean, how many times?
Okay, but now.
I just want to make this point.
Please, but okay? I also want you to tell the casino story, because I feel like that was an intention, but it also could have been an angel.
I'm trying to think what that. Which one?
You told me a story the other day that was
I don't know if
miraculous.
Okay, the thing is that I do not know where that story came from, because I've been reading a lot. So it may have come from this book.
Okay.
But like I said, I'm all over the place.
No, but please do make your point. But I don't want to forget the.
Okay, the point is how many times has somebody offered you a free cup of coffee in the last year? Not me. Not me.
A stranger in the street?
Anybody.
No.
Never, right?
But I don't ask for it.
No. It's not ask for it. It's somebody that gave you a cup of coffee. The odds.
Yeah.
The odds are bizarre. Yeah. So, because, people are not, mostly people are thinking about themselves. They're not thinking about giving you a cup of coffee. But I'm just saying that, all right?
Okay.
Because some people might, you might be listening and might go, well, it's a cup of coffee, big deal, It's not the point. The point is that she set an intention, and that day
it was fulfilled.
Regardless whether she drinks it or not. It doesn't matter.
Agreed.
Okay? Because I'm not getting offered cups of coffee. The last time I was given a cup of coffee was when I was teaching those classes. So to have, 8 people give me, I mean, I had to put these things on the side, but I had to, drink a little bit from it to, show my appreciation. Thank you so much for bringing that, Anyway, the casino, this was a story. I don't know if this came from this book or not, but the casino story is basically this lady was in a bind, and she wasn't making nearly enough at this casino. And so she set out an intention to God or the universe or whatever. I like to think it's God. Which a lot of people say are the same, but, I guess it depends where you're at. But anyway, she set out an intention, please help me. Please help me. I need to come up with this money because my, daughter or my son, they need an operation or something, whatever. So I'm paraphrasing, I'm sure. But what happened was a woman came in, and she helped this lady at the casino, and she started playing, and she started winning.
Okay, so the casino employee who was feeling very strapped, helped out a gambler at the casino.
Yes, this woman she never saw before. Right.
She's a guest at the casino.
Right.
She's trying to play some games.
Yeah.
So the employee is helping her.
Thank you.
Do her.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to clear who's who.
Yeah, well, that's what we do for each other here on the Back to Paranormal podcast. But anyway, she started winning, and every time she won, she would actually give this lady money.
The guest at the casino was winning, and every time she won, she would give a gratuity to the employee.
I feel like you're an interpreter. So
follow Well, who's the subject of this sentence?
Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm just trying to clear who's who.
Okay, so the lady who won at the casino.
I think my old King Cole robe is making me really hot.
It's great. It's great. Well, here,
Okay.
just
It's
remove
really
it.
hot.
Now it's hot. Okay, so anyway, just to finish,
Tipping her gratuity after gratuity.
Exactly. She just kept winning.
Yeah.
She just kept winning, and this lady that was helping her was a recipient of this money.
Wow.
And it got to the point where it was really ridiculous. I mean, she had more than enough to, and so she said to her, so the girl is helping this woman who's winning all this money. She goes to her, "Thank you so much, but you don't have to give me so much money." And like I said, I'm paraphrasing, but the lady started to cry, the one who was gambling, and she said, "No, I was sent here. I was sent here to help you." And so she continued to play a little bit more, and then she gave her, I think, the winnings from the last round, and then she left.
What do you think the reason for the gambler's tears?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe she didn't lead a good life. Maybe this was something that, she was sent to help somebody.
I don't know. I think it's
We
an
really
angel.
It could be.
Because
I don't know.
What could have sent her there?
I don't know. Just getting back to the book itself.
Let's do. Sorry.
I actually enjoyed reading this book, and the experiments are good. We talked about this before, and we've done some of these experiments not knowing that we were doing the experiments because it was years ago. And we're constantly, and I've said this on other shows, I think about you and I think about calling you, and then all of a sudden you're texting me at that moment, and it's a back and forth thing. Sometimes I call you, you're calling me, and it's basically, there's no ringer going on. It's just basically, hello? And you're on the other end. And the odds are really kind of crazy because we don't have a set time that we talk to each other during the day. And I think that kind of proves a lot of this in the book. But we are going to, I think we're going to slowly wrap this up. I like the book. I like her writing style. She's written a bunch of books before this. She has another book, which is E Cubed, which we'll delve into sometime in the future.
I'd like to read it because this was good, and here's a friendly, familiar way of writing.
Absolutely. And she's funny. She's actually very funny. The book is, I think it's about $16. If you go and buy, if you go to Amazon, you might be able to get a few bucks cheaper or something like that. Or you can just get it at your local bookstore. It's a popular book, but she claims all 9 experiments. If you really set the intention and you just spill out get rid of the disbelief and just really focus on it and really believe that, it's whatever it is, it's going to happen. Somehow it will happen. Yeah. And I've always believed that.
Energy is there, and it communicates, and it even takes up space, even if you can't see it. Which I think the cover art is fascinating because if you were to take one of those 4th of July sparklers and write in the air, capital E squared.
That's what it looks like.
That's what it looks like.
And it probably is that
lingers. Yeah.
It probably is that. It's a real fascinating book, and it basically follows the power of positivity, the power of attraction, all this stuff that other people have written about. Neville Goddard in the past, and Wayne Dwyer, and who's passed away, and I think Louise Hay, and I mean, this is actually published by Hay Books, which is her company. She's passed away now, but they all believed in this, and this is just following the same route. So, anyway,
and she does write, if I may. Please.
Yes, go ahead.
She writes at one point, and I did put me and my Post-its.
Yeah.
She would use your energy to become the most fantastic, the most joyful, wondrous, beautiful, tender human being you possibly can.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's you.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, you're the same way. So, thank you. Thank you, Marjorie.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you,
Hey,
folks.
if you like us, subscribe, send comments.
Yeah, and where would they
Please.
do that to?
Oh, we have a website.
Well,
now.
yeah, our website will go. It's probably going to go live by this
Fish.
weekend. Yes, it's pretty neat looking so far. And when it comes out, there's some. We got some quotes on there from people that have listened to the podcast, and there's direct links on it. And we'll have a blog, so Marjorie will be posting some stuff, and I'll be posting some stuff, and it should be a lot of fun. So it is. And okay, so we've said in the past that if you want to reach us, if you want to you have any suggestions, right now go to the Facebook page, the Back to Paranormal Facebook page, and there's some stuff on there now. We post all the new podcasts on there, so whenever a new podcast is uploaded, we basically post it onto that page. So become a member. It's very easy. Just join, and then it will show up in your feed. And this way you don't have to go looking for it. It'll be right there, and just you hit the clicky thing, and then basically it'll take you right to the podcast. And if that's not good enough, you could also subscribe on YouTube or any one of these services that carry us, which is Apple carries us, and Spotify, and maybe not a gazillion, but a whole lot. So YouTube seems to be the go-to. And we actually got a lot of a fairly decent amount of listeners between some of these podcast services and YouTube. YouTube, we had a decent amount. But we're looking to build that. So please tell your friends about us and direct them. If you listening to a podcast you really like, and, please share that on your Facebook page. That'd be really great. But the website is called backtoParanormal.com. Very simple. And we will have comments on there, and you could just go right to that thing, and you hit the button, and you can message us like that. So a lot of different ways of joining us, and you could subscribe there too. So it's probably going to be available by the end of the week. All
That's
right?
great.
Yeah, so we're working on it now, making it nice and pretty for everybody and spooky. So, you have any other comments?
Oh, no.
No.
I'm fresh out.
I want to thank everybody who's been
tonight.
all your support. Everybody who's been listening to us, and you know who you are. But we appreciate all the wonderful comments, and I think that's it for me. So
Thank you for listening.
what's up for next week? We don't know yet.
Tinfoil hats. Okay, I keep asking, and he keeps saying no. So
Well,
sorry,
we'll
guys.
We'll look into that. One thing I do want to say, and one of our listeners, basically is contacting me, and he was saying that he's excited about some of the stuff that we have planned, because eventually we're going to have some guests on here.
We have a couple lined up.
And
and we're also a guest on someone else's podcast.
Yeah, we'll announce that when that happens.
Yes.
But yes, we're both going to be guests on another podcast, so we'll let you know all about that when it comes up.
Very exciting.
All right. But no, we got some exciting stuff coming up in the future, and we got some unique plans for maybe going to a haunted place and hanging out. Yeah, field trips. So anyway, it should all be fun, and it's still going to be, the way we're doing this thing, which is kind of loopy and lighthearted and fun, and, relaying some stories. So anyway,
okay.
I'm blathering on.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to Back to Paranormal. We'll see you next week, everybody. Have a good night.
Good night.